Hello friend, and welcome to the slowest sim driving channel on YouTube. You join us in Forza Horizon 5 at the specially built Mudkhana track. We're here with the aerial Nomad, and we're going to be testing out 6 different control methods. As you can see, we're starting out with the Razer Chroma Blackwidow, which is our one keyboard. We've also got 2 wheels and 3 controllers. So the 6 devices will be running in random order, and then they will run in reverse order, so that no one controller has a advantage over the others there. I just wondered if that was going to be a crash. We've already had the Nacon wired mini PS4 controller run to 35929, and the Sony Dualsense with a disappointing 244283. And yeah, this track has been designed just to be awkward and have some very difficult sections in it. Although I've had to keep on the route lines here you see on the corners, because otherwise I'll get absolutely lost. You'll see in the mini-map in the bottom left corner there, but it gets very, very complicated in a minute. The season is the dry season. I think this is spring, and we've got no rain, but there's still a lot of mud because a river does run past here. As you can see there, we've got puddles as well to contend with. This car is using its original drivetrain, which is rear-wheel drive. And one of the issues we've got with the rear-wheel drive with the keyboard is that there's no modulation of throttle or brakes, so you're going to see the back end stepping out quite a lot. Luckily these are quite short runs. So is the keyboard going to be as good as those 2 very respectable controllers? We're about to find out. We're 76% of the way through the run already. And the idea here is just to get all of the controllers on an even footing, perhaps doing something you wouldn't normally see them do. We've also got a Hori Racing Wheel Apex, that's one of our wheels, and the Thrustmaster T300 as well, and a Sony DualShock. It's the first one, the DualShock one. So that's going to be our runners. We'll go to the end of the run now. How's the keyboard done? A 232.012, so that has beaten both of the controllers. Yes, we've got the Sony DualShock 1 up. This was the 6th controller to run. The Thrustmaster T300 and Hori Racing Wheel Apex both had very poor runs for their first runs, and the Sony DualShock's first run was a stunning 231.611. So that's pretty amazing. Of course, we're only watching the best runs that each controller did, so this is about to be even better. I'm not quite sure what it was about the DualShock one. Maybe the short throw, the digital triggers just made it very, very snappy. But could it be that the ideal Mudkhana controller for Forza Horizon 5 is in fact the old Sony DualShock 1? That would be a little ironic, really. If you can think of any names for sections of this track, that would be great. Obviously I'm going to tart the track up a little bit, but if we can come up with names for certain areas, then I'll be even more inspired to tart those areas up. And we'll maybe make some changes as well for certain areas. This bit here is very, very tight and through water. There's no break in there at all. That's very tricky. There's certain areas like that though, where you suddenly go from land to water, and what you're left with is a sudden scrubbing of speed. And that could make it a little bit awkward. You can't always judge what's coming up, but hey, I'm just talking nonsense. My idea behind this particular layout was that we could have some really muddy, slippy sections and some jumps, because everybody likes jumps. And of course jumps have to be accurate, because as you'll see on these runs, I've put checkpoints at the far side of the jumps, which means they have to be straight, otherwise you'll miss the checkpoints. Checkpoints are not good. And incidentally, this is in the bottom right corner of the main Mexico map if you want to try and sight yourself on Event Lab. It is called Mudkhana. You can get a feel for how slushy and sludgy this is, and it really is slushy and sludgy. And if we do this again on this track, I'll do it in a different season, maybe a different view, definitely a different vehicle, if that makes a difference. But for now, it's just these 6 controllers. We're about to see just how much the DualShock improves by. Around this corner here, straight to the finish line. There's the finish line. Very awkward to get out of there straight with the car sliding. At 231.232. So that's just a few tenths improvement by the Sony DualShock. That was its last run. Next up, we've got the Thrustmaster T300. And if you've seen the runs I did on Gran Turismo Sport, you'd expect the T300 to be absolutely the place to be. Let's watch this run. Very nice and accurate. And there's a piece of wood there which has gone past. If you hit that wrong, it just skims the car off in a completely inappropriate direction. Now you'll see a lot of corrections on this wheel, and in fact, there's a boat there. And in fact, I was doing all the same corrections on the controller. You just can't see it as much because it's just a, it's a thumb movement. So we're up to the first big jump. A little bit sideways, didn't land that quite right, and that's not going to be good for the run. And 90 degrees, just over 90 degrees left there, in water, car understeering and complaining. Then we go from the draggy water onto the sudden dryness, which launches the car forwards and can make that that next corner a little bit iffy. There's a drop there which unloads the front tyres, which is awkward again for that almost 90 degree corner. Get this jump nice and straight. There we go, lovely. And we've got these 2 checkpoints either side of the water here, and that's where your car's going to oversteer. Watch that tree, because that tree does not break. That tree is solid and it will stop your run. There's no rewinds on this. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. If there were rewinds, it would be too easy. That's an understeery moment. Pity I didn't get the camera on the pedals for this run, because there's a lot going on the floor right now. Just trying to stop these tyres from spinning up, and also trying to not lock the brakes into corners. We're going into this section here, which is very much round and round. This inner section, very slippy. Once we get to the outer section of that corner, it's like a bowl, so you can really slam the throttle down, but if you oversteer at that point, you're going to find yourself in some water. We're going to see that in just a moment. And go around here without doing that, which is putting too much throttle on. Very strange the way the car reacts there. It suddenly finds grip and always oversteers. I'm not quite sure why. To do with the surface, I imagine. Try and avoid that puddle because it will slow you down. And here we go. This is the bank section just here. There's water on the left, so you want to try and avoid it. To slow you down. Oh, oversteered into it. That's not good. Never mind. Through here, into the sharp right-hander. Oh, the car just carried on going straight forwards. It just aquaplaned, or mudplaned in this instance. And that's only a 250.302, so the Thrustmaster T300RS is not going to be winning this competition. Wow. That's a bit of a shocker. The Hori Racing Wheel Apex, the RWA. Can this beat its rival, the Thrustmaster T300? Here we go. Car absolutely smoking those rear tyres off the line there. And as you can see, once again, that dead zone issue that I had in the Gran Turismo Sport video creeping back in. It's either a lot of steering or no steering. There's no in between. I've tweaked the settings on the wheel and I cannot get that dead zone. And it's giving me real issues. Constantly overcorrecting. And look at that, that's just a great indicator there of how the overcorrection was going. Oh, it's not going to land straight, but it's okay, it's through. This is already looking like being an awful run, and you expect it to be an awful run as well after the way it's performed so far. Sharp left coming up. Look how late the car turns with this controller. That's pretty awful. Go up onto the bridge. Oh, we've missed it. And that's a roll. Not too bad. Not too bad. Just rewind, get back on with it. Go on, car. Get up that bridge. Not being able to do this little micro corrections really hurting this car. Here we go with the jump, and it just wasn't fast enough. Oh, disaster has struck again. Let's skip to the end of this run because it was just awful. You don't want to see just how awful it was. And here we go. 329.567. Whatever happens now, the Hori Racing Wheel Apex is finishing last in this competition. The Razer Chroma Blackwidow ran again and didn't improve its time. We'll move on to the Sony Dualsense. Again, using a Sony controller with a Microsoft game. There's got to be some sort of law against that. Or has there? This time with the extra throw of the left stick on the DualSense, you can see there's micro corrections going on constantly. Oh, that's too much throttle. Something you don't get with Forza Horizon 5 on the DualSense is the haptic feedback on those triggers, and I think I missed that when I use the DualSense. What's it got to be? It's got to be the Nacon Wired Mini controller, which you guys know is a controller I've said a lot of nice things about. I really like that controller. It's got to beat the Razer Chroma Blackwidow. A keyboard. Come on, you're a DualSense. You can do that, surely. And can it beat the Sony DualShock? Its oldest living analog ancestor. Well, you know what? We're about halfway round, and at the moment there's nothing looking terrible. It doesn't look like an incredible run. We've seen some oversteering moments. That's... oh, I was about to say that's perfect through there, but it's not. That was a little too much. Never mind. Never mind. Just bleeding valuable tenths. But the car so much more accurate than it was with the wheels. And I have heard it said that the Horizon games are more controller focused than wheel focused. So maybe unlike other games that we've tested, you know, the controllers do have an advantage here. And they can take the fight to the wheels. Clearly, both wheels not doing very well. Maybe I need a certain wheel other than those two. But for now, this looks pretty good. This is... apart from those oversteering moments, it's pretty flawless. Avoid the water. Oh, into the water. That scrubs off some speed. It's not the kind of line we wanted. But it's tight right-hander coming up. That's to take a nice wide line into there. Just with as much speed as possible. Have we improved on 244? Yes, a 226.818. The Sony DualSense shoots into the lead. The DualShock, the Blackwidow, and the Nacon all go down a place. But the final run of the day is the Nacon Wired Mini. This is the PS4 version of this controller. Here it is, all shiny and red. I'm using the other camera this time, so we're not going to have the same sort of glaring problem that we had last time I used this on a video. So, in order to win, the Nacon Wired Mini has to be, let's do some counting, about 9.2 seconds faster than its previous run. Now this has got to be a pretty epic run. Last run of the day, so it's the last chance. Nobody else is going to win. At the moment the DualSense is taking the win, the DualShock is taking the silver, and the Razer Chroma Blackwidow keyboard is taking bronze. So that's unexpected start. That was pretty good through there. None of the oversteer problems that we had with the DualSense. That was almost a perfect landing. Almost. This is where the Hori RWA came unstuck. No such trouble here. So I'm on those anchors. Avoid these two trees. That's how it's done. Oh, a little bit of traction loss. We're still moving. Still pushing. those triggers on the Nacon. So good, so accurate. And that's a great example there. That looked good. A little bit of bogging down, not too bad. This is looking like a good run so far. What can go wrong? Well, everything can go wrong. You've got to thread the needle between those puddles there, or you're going to get dragged off to one side and slowed down. That's not good at all for your run. Again, get between those two big puddles there. Float like a butterfly, sting like a nomad. Try to go as wide as you can through here because it's a very tight turn, and that looked perfect. This is a good run. I say it's a good run. There's a couple of things that can still go wrong. Not many things can still go wrong here. Go around that water, don't get dragged into it. This is looking really good. Nice wide apex into this last corner. Good next to the line. Oh, lost a little bit of time there. And this is a 2:23.7. What an incredible time. Oh my goodness, the Nacon Wired Mini there doing the business and taking the win. The Dualsense coming in second and the DualShock third. So we've got controller, keyboard, wheel. Is that the way it's going to be for Forza Horizon 5? We are going to have to keep an eye on that. We're going to have to do another test. Let me know if you want another muddy test, or if you want a different test like a rally or a speed test. We'll do that. See if we can come up with some names for parts of the Mudkhana, and I shall update it. But until then, thanks for watching the video. It's been great to have you. Thanks to my Discord. Thanks to the Patreon. Until next time, be good to yourself, be good to those around you. Bye bye for now.